Before you scroll, before you tell yourself, this is just another video, pause. Because this message found you for a reason. The nights you cried alone, the prayers you whispered when no one was listening, I saw them. And today, I need you to hear this clearly. You passed my test. You thought I was silent. You thought I had forgotten you. You wondered if your faith even mattered anymore. But I was watching. I saw the way you wiped your tears before anyone noticed. I saw you smile in front of people while your heart felt heavy. I saw you choose patience when anger would have been easier. I saw you stay kind when others misunderstood you. I saw you keep going when everything inside you wanted to give up. You felt like you were breaking, but you were becoming. There were nights when you lay in your bed staring at the ceiling, asking me, "Why is this happening to me?" You replayed conversations in your mind. You questioned your worth. You doubted your future. You felt like doors were closing one after another. And each time something fell apart, you thought it was punishment, but it was preparation. The test was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. You were being tested in your patience, not because I wanted to see you suffer, but because I wanted to strengthen your spirit. You were being tested in your faith, not because I doubted you, but because I knew what you were capable of becoming. You were being tested in your love, to see if your heart would remain soft in a world that tries to harden it. And you passed. You passed when you chose to pray instead of curse. You passed when you chose to forgive instead of hold bitterness. You passed when you chose to trust me even without answers. There were moments when you felt abandoned. You watched others move ahead. You saw people who hurt you succeed. You wondered why your progress seemed slow. You compared your journey to theirs and felt behind. But you were never behind. You were being built differently. What I am preparing for you requires depth. It requires endurance. It requires a heart that understands pain but still believes in hope. And that kind of strength is not formed in comfort. It is formed in quiet battles that only you and I know about. I saw you when you cried in the bathroom so no one would hear you. I saw you when you stared at your phone waiting for a message that never came. I saw you when your plans fell apart. I saw you when you felt replaced, ignored, forgotten. You thought those tears were weakness. They were worship. Every tear was a prayer. Every sigh was a conversation with me. Even when you didn't have the words, I understood your heart. And here is what you don't realize. The enemy thought you would quit. The enemy thought pressure would break you. The enemy thought isolation would silence your faith. But instead, the pressure pushed you closer to me. The loneliness made you talk to me more. The confusion made you seek me deeper. That is why you passed. You didn't pass because everything went right. You passed because you stayed faithful when everything went wrong. I tested your patience with delays. I tested your trust with silence. I tested your loyalty with disappointment. And through it all you kept saying, "God, I don't understand, but I trust you." That trust moved heaven. Right now, you may still be in the middle of the storm. You might not see the reward yet. You might still feel tired. But listen carefully. Passing the test doesn't always mean the storm stops immediately. Sometimes it means I give you peace inside the storm. And that peace is your proof. You have changed. You don't react the same way anymore. Things that used to trigger you now make you pause. Situations that once made you panic now make you pray. That growth didn't happen by accident. It happened because you endured. There were people who expected you to fall apart. There were voices that told you you're not strong enough. There were thoughts in your own mind whispering, maybe this is the end. But I was whispering something else, keep going. And you did. You kept showing up to work even when your heart was heavy. You kept supporting others even when you needed support yourself. You kept believing in love even after heartbreak. You kept dreaming even after disappointment. Do you know how powerful that is? You passed the test of character. You passed the test of faith. You passed the test of endurance, and now something is shifting. What felt like rejection was protection. What felt like delay was alignment. What felt like loss was redirection. You cried because you couldn't see what I was doing behind the scenes. You thought doors were closing forever, but I was removing what could not go where you are going. If I had given you what you asked for too early, it would have crushed you. If I had removed the struggle too soon, you would not have grown. If I had answered every prayer immediately, you would never have learned to trust me deeply. The test refined you. Look at yourself now. You are more careful with your energy. You are more selective with your circle. You are more protective of your peace. You don't chase what runs from you anymore. You don't beg for love. You don't fight for spaces where you are not valued. That is growth. You didn't even realize it was happening. You thought you were just surviving, but you were transforming. There is a blessing attached to your endurance. There is a breakthrough connected to your obedience. There is a restoration waiting on the other side of your faith. And it is closer than you think. You may still feel tired, but you are not defeated. You may still have questions, but you are not lost. You may still feel emotional, but you are not weak. You passed, and now I am about to show you why the test was necessary. The same people who doubted you will see your elevation. The same situation that caused you pain will become part of your testimony. The same tears that fell from your eyes will water the ground where your blessings grow. Do not rush this season. Do not regret the struggle. Do not wish away the process, because the process is proof that I am shaping something greater than you imagined. You asked me to use you, you asked me to grow you, you asked me to bless you, but blessings require capacity. Growth requires stretching. Purpose requires preparation, and you endured the stretching, even when you felt misunderstood, even when you felt alone in your faith, even when you wondered if your prayers were reaching heaven. They were. I heard every word. I counted every tear. I felt every heartbreak, and I am proud of you. Not because you were perfect, not because you never doubted, but because you kept coming back to me. Even after frustration, even after silence, even after disappointment. That return, that surrender, that quiet, I still trust you. That is why you passed. There is something new forming in your life right now. It may not be visible yet, but it is real. Opportunities are aligning. Connections are shifting. Doors are preparing to open. But before they do, I needed you to know this. Your tears were not wasted. Your pain was not ignored. Your faith was not unnoticed. You passed my test, and what comes next will make you understand why you had to. And what comes next will not look like what you expected. It will be greater. You thought the reward would be instant relief. You thought it would feel like fireworks, like sudden victory, like everything changing overnight. But what I am about to give you is deeper than excitement. It is stability. It is clarity. It is a quiet confidence that no one can take from you, because the real reward of the test is not just what you receive, it is who you have become. You are no longer the same person who entered this season. The old you would have reacted differently. The old you would have chased, argued, forced, or begged. The old you would have broken under this pressure. But look at you now. You walk away from what disturbs your peace. You pray before you respond. You think before you speak. You trust before you panic. That is transformation. There were moments when you almost gave up. You remember them. The days when the weight felt unbearable. The mornings when getting out of bed felt like a battle. The evenings when loneliness wrapped around you like a shadow. You whispered, "God, I can't do this anymore," but you did. not because you were strong on your own, but because I was carrying you in ways you could not see. When you felt empty, I was sustaining you. When you felt confused, I was guiding you. When you felt rejected, I was redirecting you. Some of the people who walked away were assignments, not destinies. Some of the opportunities that fell through were distractions, not blessings. Some of the delays that frustrated you were divine timing, protecting you from future regret. You thought you were losing. But you were being aligned. There were closed doors that hurt your heart. You knocked. You waited. You hoped. And when nothing happened, you felt overlooked. You questioned your value. But I closed those doors because what is meant for you will not require you to shrink to fit inside it. Read that again in your spirit. What is meant for you will not require you to beg, compete, or betray yourself. The test was about identity. Would you remember who you are when everything around you tried to define you by your struggles? Would you remember your worth when others treated you as optional? Would you remember your calling when progress seemed invisible? And you did, even when you doubted yourself, you never fully let go of me. Even when you felt far, you still whispered my name. Even when you were angry, you still believed deep down that I was working something out. That belief is what carried you through. Right now, something is breaking off your life. The heaviness you have been carrying is lifting. The anxiety that once controlled your thoughts is loosening its grip. The fear that kept you small is losing its power. You may not feel it all at once. It may happen gradually, but you will notice it. You will wake up one day and realize that what once consumed your mind no longer controls your peace. You will see the same situation and feel calm instead of panic. You will hear the same names and feel indifference instead of pain. That is healing. And healing is proof that the test is over. But listen carefully. The end of a test is not the end of growth. It is the beginning of responsibility, because now you know what it feels like to be tested, and you will become the kind of person who lifts others when they are in their season of tears. You will speak with compassion because you understand pain. You will move with wisdom because you have learned through experience. The tears you cried gave you depth. You used to pray for blessings. Now you pray for peace. You used to ask for success. Now you ask for alignment. You used to chase validation. Now you value purpose. That shift did not happen overnight. It happened in the dark, in the quiet, in the waiting. I was shaping your character when no one was applauding you. I was strengthening your faith when no one was noticing you. I was building resilience inside you while the outside looked the same. And now you are ready. Ready for relationships that reflect your growth. Ready for opportunities that match your maturity. Ready for blessings that require stability. If I had given you these things a year ago, you would not have handled them the way you can now. You would have responded from insecurity instead of confidence. You would have operated from fear instead of faith. But the test changed you. The betrayal taught you discernment. The delay taught you patience. The disappointment taught you surrender. And surrender is powerful, because when you finally said, "God, not my will, but yours," something shifted in the spiritual realm. You stopped trying to control every outcome. You stopped forcing timelines. You stopped exhausting yourself trying to fix what was never yours to fix. And that is when you truly passed. The enemy wanted you bitter. Instead, you became better. The enemy wanted you silent. Instead, you prayed louder. The enemy wanted you isolated. Instead, you grew closer to me. You see, the test was never about whether you would cry. It was about whether you would quit. And you didn't. You felt weak, but you kept believing. You felt tired, but you kept moving. You felt unsure, but you kept trusting. That persistence has opened doors you cannot yet see. Soon, you will look back at this season and realize it was the turning point. The moment when you stopped living for approval and started living in purpose. The moment when you stopped chasing people and started chasing peace. The moment when you stopped doubting me and started depending on me fully. And when the blessings come, and they will come, you will handle them differently. You will not brag. You will not forget the nights you cried. You will not forget the prayers you whispered. You will not forget who carried you through. Gratitude will sit in your heart like a quiet strength. There is restoration coming in areas where you felt loss. There is clarity coming where there was confusion. There is provision coming where there was lack. But most importantly, there is peace coming where there was turmoil. And this peace will not depend on people staying. It will not depend on circumstances changing. It will not depend on everything being perfect. It will depend on me. You passed the test because you chose faith over fear. And now your reward is not just external blessing. It is internal, unshakable trust. The tears were seeds. The pain was preparation. The waiting was alignment. And now the season is shifting in your favor. You may still have moments of doubt. You may still have days when emotions rise. That does not mean you failed. It means you are human. But deep inside, there is a new foundation in you that was not there before. A foundation built on experience with me. You no longer just believe because someone told you to. You believe because you survived something that should have broken you. And that is powerful. You passed my test. And what is coming next will not only bless you, it will confirm to you that I was with you the entire time. So now, my child, lift your eyes and lift your heart. Know that every tear, every sigh, every quiet moment of pain was seen. Every prayer you whispered in the dark, every moment you chose faith over fear, it mattered. You passed my test. The storms you endured were not to break you, but to build you. The nights you felt alone were not abandonment, but preparation. And the waiting you thought was endless was not punishment, but alignment. Today, you are stronger, wiser, and closer to me than ever before. The life, the blessings, the peace that have been promised to you are drawing near. Walk into them with confidence, with trust, and with a heart that knows. You are never alone. You are never forgotten. And you are deeply, infinitely loved. Remember this always. Your tears were never wasted. Your struggles were never meaningless. And your faith has not gone unnoticed. You passed. And now, the beautiful life I have been preparing for you can finally unfold. Believe it. Receive it. Live it. Because I saw your tears and I am proud of you.